everybody, welcome back, and this is episode 502 and a little catch up on what's going on and what I'm working on and even maybe some work. So I do a little bit of a what I got from the library segment. So this was what I got from the library because I'm interested. I've got a lot of older clothes that don't quite work, so I decided I want to do a batch of indigo dye again. And also I got this shirt and I really liked it, but in the course of me being me, I've splattered stuff that will not come off, a bit of dye, because I was wearing it and I was doing stuff as per usual. Most of my clothes paint spattered, but I just wanted to dye that, but I wanted to use some Shibori techniques first. I wanted to go through this book because it's due back and I've got to take it back. So this has got some beautiful ideas in it, and it's got a lot of great instructions, so I'm really enjoying this little book. Normal things about how-tos, etc., and techniques and projects. So I follow on Instagram a Shibori stitching person, and I'll put the link below. And I follow another lady who is, she makes her own clothes, but she's very concise with her little TikToks that she dances around in her clothes. It's really quite funny. But lately she's been doing a little bit of Shibori and then dyeing over the top, so I wanted to explore that. So this is a little bit like what I'm talking about, but hopefully within this video I can get started and maybe finish it next video or show you the results next video. So there's a whole heap of different ways to do these techniques. This is without doing any tying. This is called makume, or textured stitching. So this is a little bit like what I'm thinking. Doing the running stitch but pulling it tight so as you get the gathers. So that's what I'm planning to do with this one. I love this technique. So that's like little strands that you've pulled up and tied. I love it. Looks like flowers, so I actually might explore that on one of my other pieces. So I've got quite a few. I've got 2 tunic dresses, I've got a shirt, I've got 2 black dresses, both of which, because I wear them when I'm doing stuff, got a little bit of bleach on, so there's patches. So I've actually bleached them right out and they've come back to red, which I'll show you later because they're downstairs. But they've come back to a sort of an earthy red colour or rusty brown. So I want to indigo dye those over the top as well. So these ones look fairly similar to that spider's web one. And I love this heat setting fabric one. So if you've got any material that is something that, you know, that will, let me see if it says what sort of polyester. So polyesters will do this if you overheat them, but they use marbles. And look at this effect. Isn't that great? I want to try that too. So there's a few things. I might have to re-borrow this book. Great textile kind of things. So this was a good little inspiration book because it made me think of not just doing some standard old tie-dye, you know, wrap it with an elastic band kind of thing, and expanding into some new territory. I mean, on my last dye batch, when I did it for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, I did use pegs, and I did, probably without too much research, did quite a bit of what I remembered from maybe when I was a child doing tie-dye and what I've seen on a few other people's. But this one I want to just extend it a little bit. So here, even this is quite, that's the pegs. Isn't that interesting? And the circles, now how does it, jar lid, all right. So there's all kinds of things. That's a wrap, that looks like a wrap, scrunched. Yes, I did explore this one a little bit on the last indigo dye. I'll put the link for the indigo dye pieces that I did last time. So I even like this, just it looks like a batik for a tablecloth. Beautiful. Looks just scrunched. So what does it say? Nothing. Just says scrunch tips. Yeah, that's really nice. Right, that's lovely. I think I've got one white shift dress, and I'm torn between something like this over the whole thing, because it could go well or it could go badly, and then if I don't like the way it looks, I won't wear it, and I'm already not wearing it, but I want to wear it. So I'm tied between that and between trying to do blockouts of geometric sort of areas. I'm a bit unsure about that so far. This is an interesting one where it's folded and pleated and then sewn, stitched. So it's been ironed to keep the pleats in, and I think they put it round. So I'm going to make one vat up, and I want to have all my things ready and then soak them, because I think if you're going to do the traditionally you should soak your fabric then tie it. That's what my research is saying, but because it won't be wet any longer if I sit and stitch for ages on, you know, all the parts of this in different Shibori style patterns. So I'm going to have to do this dry and then soak it, and then maybe then I'll pull the threads and tie them together. That might be the best way to work it. But look, it's just so effective, and I'm really hoping. So this is a funny beside the beside. I love the indigo. I'm enjoying working with it. I want to continue working with it, but I have no idea whether it's going to suit my skin tone. So I could dye all these things and just have a whole range of stuff that just doesn't suit me. I'm very, very hard to match colour-wise, and it's hard to find clothes that I like, that fit me and that look right. So this is an attempt for me to be a little bit more unique, because I am done with the boredom. I'm done with the boredom. I've done with the being like everyone else. And anyway, rant over. This is a book I've really enjoyed, and let's get to so it's The Dip Dye by Pepper Martin and Karen Davis. See if there's a number. Oh, it's covered. All right. Oh no, because it's the same up here as down here. So ISBN 9780987392763. So that's the number if you want to take a screenshot. Another book that I've got from the library that I actually wouldn't mind having on my shelf. So the first part for me, and this will be very peaceful. So I've got a really large needle and a really large, so this one's just been from someone's stash that I've grabbed. And it's cotton, so it'll dye fairly well. So I'm hoping that I get lots of different dye colours throughout, but I've started with this blue, size 5, and it's cotton, Semco. Yeah, this was just rolled up in the bottom of someone's stash that I got off Facebook Marketplace. So what my plan is, and I'm just actually wondering if I should, my plan is to do a patch here, then maybe have a spiral or a spider's web type of thing down here. So I think this whole piece is going to take, it's going to take me a while to sew, because I've got like lots of different spots. And now I'm thinking what I might do is my heat, my water, because it's going to be washed off. I'm actually thinking I I might try and like make it relatively straight, you know, like plan it out for once. All right, so maybe about this far apart. This will give me it's harder than I think. So any areas that are gathered up are going to be this yellow. So I do want to leave some yellow because I really love this yellow, and I was really annoyed with myself for getting those dots on it. I think I've already gone a bit wonky because I want to go like that. Doesn't matter, maybe we can go geometric. No, because it's over the boob area. So so I'm thinking a lot about dresses and shirts and how they're going to look over the boob area. Like you just don't want to randomly do a spider's thing so as it's, you know, Madonna's cone bra or something like that. You know what I mean. All right, I think that this is straight. So I think I am going to edit that. This line is the one I want. And if I'm having this one, I think that has to be straighter like that. All right, I'm not too fussed about how big the gap is, because it's going to be tied quite tight with this cotton. And when I was watching the TikTok, the lady who was making her pants this way, she also, when she'd done her running stitch, she did a bit that way as well. So I will find her. I was just looking for her on Instagram this morning and I just couldn't find her. I mean, she probably posts on certain days and I just haven't been looking on the correct day. So I think this is about as much as I want to do. Like that. And I don't need a small running stitch. It's going to be pulled tight, so I'm figuring it can be a relatively longish running stitch. Maybe about that sort of size. So you get the drift. So with the ladies, if you watch any videos of the ladies doing the cantha stitch, I'm just going to show you how they do it. They do it like, you know, they actually do smaller stitches and they can do a whole run like that. I think what I might do when I get to the end, just thinking, do I want to, all right, maybe 2 rows maximum, so I've got something to pull, you know, like I've got this end, so I'll be able to gather it like so, like that. But I also think if I come up this line, and even if I'm doing it like alternating like that, so out where there's the gap for the in, so it might create just a slight, like that part will be pulled tight and this part will be pulled tight, so there'll be a little bit of the yellow coming through on those. But what I'm thinking is having just one thread for every 2 rows, so cutting off here at the end of this. Oh, I've come through on, oh, I see what I've done. Well, you know what, does it matter? I don't know if it does. We're just making patterns. Well, like I said, over the boob area, it's a little bit more something you might want to be a bit more concerned about. If you're a larger woman, you don't want more attention there. More than you already get. All right, let's see. I don't mind that I messed that up. I often mess things up. It's okay. I like messing things up because you know what? Okay, so I was watching. Now, if no one follows this girl, I love her. Knits a Creative Studio. I think she's Polish or something, but living in LA. And she makes some really great photo prints onto from jelly. So she does the photo ink transfer onto wood blocks or jelly plates, which I love, and I haven't been able to manage to do so far, but I will get there. Yes, Nitsa, you have inspired me. She was making a comment about people giving their opinions on the internet. Right, so I don't even need to go all the way up under the arm there. I can just start to come back, which I totally agreed on. But following the trend, so her last video, she was talking about people criticising on the internet, and she was talking about how this professor of photography decided to send her a note to tell her how bad she was at photography and how much she could improve. Thanks for mansplaining that, mate. Anyway, she decided that what she was doing was being creative and having her own technique. So that's actually quite a good little video to have a listen to. I'm having one of those days today where I'm hearing lots of women standing up for themselves and their creativity, and I'm loving it. I'm just loving it. And not letting men tell them how they should do things. So I'm really enjoying that at the moment. That's my little thing. All right, so I've done 2 rows with 1 thread and 2 rows with 1 thread. So this is my thought, is that when I'm pulling them all together at the end, I'll be doing that, and it'll be not so many rows that, you know, it's hard by the time you're down here. So I'm going to continue with this off camera and bring it back to show you. Obviously, I've got quite a bit to do on this, so I'm not quite sure when I'm going to get the dyeing done. So this will be a project over possibly a couple of weeks. It depends how much, and how I want to cover up. All right, so now I'm starting to think a bit more about what else I'm doing. So this will be that technique I'm testing out or doing in this patch here. So maybe if I wanted to, oh, I love this pen because I know it's going to wash out, so it's perfect. Where's it gone? I'm thinking of that little spidery web kind of thing. Oh, I probably should be doing this on something like an ironing board where I can stretch it out. Here we go. Let's think about testing the little spider's web things. And I'm wondering if I'm going to just have it on one side and keep the other side a straight indigo. Don't know. I'll probably, yeah, this will work here. That fits. I like that idea. Now what I've got to work out, how many spokes to the flowers. I think it would look nice with 5. All right, so I'm continuing with another idea on this top, even though I've got other things to do in this video. I've got carried away, as usual. Why not? Just wondering if it's a good idea to continue using the same thread or if I should use different thicknesses. All right. Do I want to just do one circular thing like that? And, oh yes. All right, so now I've decided that what I'm doing is going around the edge in the same running stitch in all of these. This would work so much easier if it wasn't on a shirt. So I'm going to go around the outside on this one, and I'll gather up all of the circles so there's a circular line, but I still might do a few spider's webs in the middle, but I think I'll get some thinner cotton or something for that. I'm thinking also that I'm doing quite large running stitch gaps here, and I'm thinking that when you look at painting and mark making, when I'm doing that, I'm not necessarily thinking that every single mark that you make is the same thickness and the same you know, distance apart. So even though at the moment my running stitches are all very similar, I'm going to have to break them up with a bit of a variety of other styles. But I'm enjoying the way it's coming along so far. All right, so you get the gist of what I'm doing. Probably here I might just get one tiny little spider's web thing. Another tiny little spider's web thing. Or I might just elastic band. Anyway, I want to move on because there's a lot of other things that we're doing in this video. All right, so that's what my shibori and my tie-dyeing is doing. Now I'm going to insert now a little shaky cam walk through my craft room so you can see a little bit how it is now after I've reset it up and got it ready for getting back to work after that big break I've had. So I'll insert that here. Okay, so this is just a quick little walk through. I love the beautiful sun streaming through the window and showing how my setup is. It's a very quick walk through. Oh, I'm in my dressing gown. I just saw my reflection. Anyway, here's my large, isn't that funny? Here's my large piece. And I'm just going to try and, it's hard doing this with one hand, but there's the pocket. Get your finger out the way, Christina. And the pocket is what I was talking about, wanting to, I want to put something in there. So here's the rest of it. And I've moved my printer into the left-hand corner so it's much easier to access than it was. So that's the little tour for now. Okay, so I'll be getting back to that, but where you saw the pocket, and I've hung my large work up, And I know it's not flat and everything, but I tried to show you the pocket that I've been talking about, putting something inside to, let's say, some embroidered scissors and stuff like that to put in that pocket. I've just got to get a bit of like, not baking paper, but greaseproof paper, which is thinner, like a tracing paper, because that's really good for getting the size, but I actually need to get some from the shop. So what I would show you is where I'm up to now with these bags. So I've used old quilts from the op shop that someone else made, because it's all about recycling, and Margot's beautiful bits of 70s stitching. So she's made the patchwork backing and then she's over stitched. So for anyone who maybe didn't see in previous episodes, Margot was the girl's dad's sister who died when she was 21 in a horrific car accident, and somehow I've ended up with a lot of her bits of material. I've got beautiful red velvet squares about this big. Hang on, let me just get that quickly. So it's from a very old video, but I've used some of it. So these are see the size of the squares. So it's one great big massive bedspread that didn't get lined, didn't get finished. And so this beautiful old velvet, so it's all 70s stuff, but this beautiful old velvet has just been sitting in everyone's cupboards for years and years and years, and no one's known what to do with it. So I'm calling everything I make Margot, because that's what's her name, and I'm thinking I'm taking up her, you know. Oh well, I wish I'd have met her. So I've got lots of it, and I'll be making other things with it, but I have used it as a cover for an art journal. Just you know, work your ideas out kind of art journal. Anyone remembers, there's a card I made of that in the back of I think that one was the one I used in the make your own 30 days. So I think that's what I used in the 30 days. How to make a book. So if anyone's interested in a little bit more of this sort of stuff, just let me know in the comments. So that's what I did. So that was the first thing I've used of Margot's that has been, I don't know, just every time I see it I think of her, and I didn't even meet her, which was really sad, because I think now what she was making would be like, by now I guess she would be, if she was still alive, she'd be 60. I think she was 4 years older than me. So we would have been great friends all our life. That's what I think. So it's a real shame. But anyway, this was one great big large piece, and I cut it into 4, and I'm making bags that hopefully Liz especially would love this. Lily, it's not Lily's style at all, but she might enjoy having it. So I'm just making these bags, and I was at odds with what. Oh, and I had to say, my sewing machine would not go through 2 layers of quilting for some reason, and it was doing that stupid thready bobbin thing at the back. So I have had to hand stitch the whole lot. all of the insides are hand stitch, and I was really struggling with what I had. Let me see, where is it? Oh, sorry, I'm just reaching over here. I had this to use as the lining, just nice and neutral, but it wasn't kind of working for me. So I went in Spotlight and I picked out a whole heap of different materials. Just trying to see, there's something I did. So this is the other one. This one here, I've had to sew down this so it wasn't fraying too much. So I just did a little bit of sort of weird seed stitch. In the end, I settled for this because trying to find, I actually really loved a very bright green with dinosaurs on, but in the end it detracted from the bag, and I think that the bone calico doesn't match. I tried to find a bright yellow like that would have made it very sunny, and they only had a couple of fat quarters, and I would have had to get so many. And the fat quarters, you know, it's a very thin material. See, that's sort of almost like just one fat quarter, but it's very thin. Just seeing if I've got one close. No, I haven't. Very thin material. So in the end I went for an almost like a denim, because I think it'll be a great liner, and it kind of, it doesn't look like it would match, but what it is not taking away from the bag. It's interesting for the inside when you see the inside of the bag and you go, oh, that's an interesting, nice, beautiful mark making pattern, but you won't see it, you know, it fades away compared to all the bright colours and the decoration of all these beautiful 70s bits of material. What I would give to have a handful of, like, you know, it's like, thanks Margot, I would have loved to have had, you know, some of this material as well, but, you know, it's just beautiful. What I've done, so that's where I'm up to with these. So what I also have done is scanned in some of this. So where are they? All right, so I'll be making, I've scanned them in, and I'll be making something in the Rik Rack Club of these. Maybe some junk journal envelopes or something like that. So I've got 4 scans of these. Now all the things I'm going to be putting into the Rik Rack Club are, they're going to be also, I think I'm going to put a bulk buy in the Etsy shop, but if you're in the Rik Rack Club you get them for free, so you know, you have to work out whether or not it's actually better to buy the Rik Rack Club, be in the Rik Rack Club and get tutorials and freebie printouts for a coffee a month, or do one-off purchases. Up to you, whatever you want to do. I'm just really wanting to make a community and have a little bit more interaction with people. All right, so that's where I'm up to with that. The other day I was sewing this with my big long rant, so I went and I finished the other pieces, and I'm almost tempted to put these into the pocket of the large work, or on the pocket. The pocket does sort of, as you saw, hang low a bit, hang down a bit. I'm not quite sure if I might put a little, I might put a button or something to hold the pocket up a bit, but I definitely want things poking out of the pocket. So that's where I'm up to with these. These could go, these might go in a, these might, some of these, are they small enough? Let me get my Roxy's. All right, so my Roxy's, I'm a little bit behind. I have had a few little hiccups, and I think, I was just thinking maybe I could stick 1 or 2 of these in here, because I love having these. It's like, because I do paperwork and bookwork as well as the embroidery, very much like Rachel. Rachel's been a great inspiration, thanks Rach. I don't know, I like having these bits and pieces that are random, that, you know, it's like having a little ephemera book of stickers, or, you know, tags or whatever to put into your junk journals. It does sort of seem to fit nicely there, but I'm not quite sure if I want, well, I do have the red of the gate with the roses, don't I? It is larger than some of the bits and pieces, but I don't consider my, it's not literal, you know. I've got my little pots of flowers floating in the air there. I think it'll just be nice to add little bits and pieces throughout. So we're in March, and I think we usually finish, like, it's 6 months, the project. So I'm thinking there's probably only 4 more prompts, maybe. If we've got So we've done March. We've got the extra week of March this week, which is not an extra prompt. So we'll have 2 prompts for April, 2 prompts for May. Oh, we might have 2 prompts for June. I'm not sure. We started, when did we start? January, or did we start February? Can't remember now. Anyway, I am behind. I've got to catch up. Might go in there. I don't know. Anyway, that's one idea. I hope to make a few more of these and just have them in a little pot ready to go. And what am I up to? I got more of the garden. I think since I spoke, I've got more of the garden path done. So I have done some things. More garden path, more garden path. Well, I've shown on Instagram, but maybe I didn't show. Maybe I didn't show my 2 little pots of flowers. Actually, I do like them. They're cute. And here I made another pot here with these more creative flowers. So I've still got to do, I don't consider I've finished doing the vegetable patch because that was a really poor attempt. I should do more. And also I haven't done the next prompt, which is animals in the garden. And it's Easter and I really wanted to do little rabbits. In fact, I'm going to pause and I'm going to go and look and see if I could find any rabbit stamps in my stamps, because I want to have a rabbit stamp that I can embroider or just even put on. Well, that was an interesting discovery going through my stamps. So apparently some of these cheap stamps with the sticky on the back disintegrate over time and merge into each other and stick. This was stuck on here, so what that's done is actually solidified the stamp surface so it's unusable, and gone onto this stamp, which makes that unusable. It's got all this extra stuff. That one seems to be right. But they're all very sticky, so I'm going to chuck them. So it was good to go through and realise that that was happening to some of my stamps. This upstairs gets quite warm, so they have been in the hot room over summer while I've not necessarily been in here as much, dealing with my stuff. So what I did find that gave me some ideas, I found my little sewing, you can see. This is what I mean about scissors and stuff sticking out of that pocket on the large work. They're too small though, but it gave me some ideas. And I've got these ones. So these ones, Stampers Anonymous, Tim Holtz. So there's the idea of something like this entire stamp being stamped. However, the thing about using other people's stamps and designs on your own work is that you're actually putting yourself up for copyright. So, or paying them because you're selling their work or something. So there's things to look at like that. But this idea kind of works. A little panel or 2 sticking out. So I might come up with my own design for that. So I just segued. I'm between the large work and the Roxy's. So I've got some stamps that aren't ruined, and can't see, that's a peacock. But it's more finding maybe an idea. So peacocks are quite large and fancy for an animal. I don't know if there's a spot. I think also, I think it would be funny having it in the garden, like it might go there. Oh, hang on, when it's actually, that's the image, so it'll be this way. It might be quite funny, have a peacock there. I found a giraffe's head. Oh, you can't see them. I need to get a bit of material and a stamp thing and show you. Let me show you how they're looking. What they look like. This made me laugh. I was thinking, wouldn't that be funny, poking its head up out of the background. This is just doing a quick little... So once again, these stamps would make the work copyright. But, you know, you get what I mean. It's like they're actually quite funny. I could see them poking up in the Stitchery journal. So lots of butterflies. I think that this is too big. I've got some smaller ones. Something else I thought, well, all right, so we haven't got the next prompt and we've done animals, but I found these and I thought, oh, aren't these like little Easter eggs? Like, wouldn't it be perfect to stick a little Easter egg in the garden? Little eggs. So I'm sorry if I'm maybe I'm preempting the next prompt. All right, so some smaller butterflies. Oops. Also, another thing I found we haven't done, and you know, it's too hard. I might be preempting again a prompt that's coming up, which might be mushrooms. So I've got this lovely cute Lavinia's stamps, I think, are some of these little cute ideas, or little mushroom houses. Love these. These are really designed for card makers, but why couldn't you put a stamp of some mushrooms and print it up? The other thing I've got that I was just looking at that I thought was nice, because I do want to put a couple of birds in as part of my animals. I love this one. This might be one that I definitely stamp onto material and put in. Yeah, I like that. I do love that. I think that really would work really well. So let's put that one aside. I think this one is roses with a butterfly. Probably can't fit in the whole image, but see if I can do it like that. Roses and a butterfly. So I've got a variety of sizes of butterflies. So that's good now. I've got these are like little stamp templates that I could play with and go, do I want to do that? Maybe that's a good idea. Like this little bird could fit in somewhere like that. Like I say, I have not been thinking that mine is a literal picture. I'm happy to have these up here and put something with that. Something like a peacock there, you know. It's an animal. It can go in there. That could go there, that could go there. Get some animals in. Definitely surprised that I haven't even done a mushroom anyway, because usually they are a feature. Even a little mushroom here, looks like that sort of size. Could go in there. I like the roses and the rose hops with the butterfly, definitely. Down here, little butterfly somewhere. Definitely wanted to put a bunny in. That's what I went to look for my stamps. I went to look for a bunny and didn't find one. Butterfly. I could put a few different butterflies around. Anyway, this is another process, another way that I do love the improvisational aspect of stitching and seeing what the creative mind comes up with, but I also sometimes like to have a little plan. I'm keen on putting these little Easter eggs somewhere for fun. It's like little hidden treasures, little Easter eggs. Very big butterfly. Hard to know when you don't know what the next prompts are that are coming up. That's always the fun of the task, isn't it? I want a butterfly here, or maybe one near this here. But what I'm going to do for myself is pin these on just for now and have a little think over a day or two, and hopefully this will get me started doing this again on the next next bit. Get it going again. All right. There we go. So I'm going to get back to my Shibori stitching of my shirt. Start working on the next lot of that, tie-dyeing. Get stitching some more things on this. And where else are we up to? Oh, my little my little 3 to 5 book. I haven't actually done any stitching just for a bit, because I've been just really enjoying doing Roxy's weekly challenge and doing paperworks lately, and having a little break from embroidery. There, okay. So I think, oh, and one more thing. Not to make too much noise with these. Now these are like little ceramic, they're actually rubbery. They're like little rubber button things. But oh, here we go. All right, so you just can't stop that creative thing. It just happens. You start to get things out. I love it. You start to get things out, you start to play, and then you go, oh, actually, that'll go on there. That'll go there. I can put a few of these scattered around. Some of these could be little wildflowers. But they're sort of like, oh, there's a name. They're a Japanese bead. They're a type of Japanese bead or button with a specific name. Now, when I got these, I thought I was getting ceramic, but they actually do. They're bendy. They're like silicone or rubber. I don't know if they're offcuts or something from someone's stash, but look at them. They'll look great. Sewn on as little flowers, little clusters of flowers. So I got 2 different strands because I figured this had a white or a cream, so it's light enough, as well as yellow, browns and oranges, and I like that colour palette. And this one had a bit more fluoro, but it also had the blues, which I love, so I might use some of them on my shirt that I'm tie-dyeing as well. I'm actually deciding to update my whole wardrobe, so by doing things like tie-dyeing things I don't wear. So as hopefully I can wear them, you know, the colour is better or whatever. And I'm cutting up, and I want to start to cut up some jumpers and sew them. So I really actually am thinking of recreating my whole wardrobe into a very arty wardrobe and a more crafty wardrobe and a more me wardrobe, because I'm all about being 100% me. That's what is happening. Okay, I think I've finished. All right, so that's it. What I'm going to leave with, I am going to take away this concept and do some drawings for my large work and get my parchment paper, my greaseproof paper from the shop, and get started on the next lot of stuff. All right, I never want to leave you all. It's so fun chatting, but I will see you in the next one, and thank you for watching. Bye for now.